Hey there, comic fans! Welcome back to Comic Yahud. Today we're diving into Chapter 7 of Tintin and the King Ottokar Sceptre. Let's get started. The Ottokar, asserting his trustworthiness, insists on knowing Tintin's purpose, but Tintin remains firm. He emphasizes the gravity of his news, insisting it is a matter only the king can hear. The Ottokar, acknowledging Tintin's persistence, suggests he return later that evening to meet the king. Tintin expresses his gratitude, understanding the importance of the opportunity. As Tintin and Snowy leave the palace, Tintin remarks on the need for a meal, addressing Snowy with light-hearted affection. The guard at the gate stands stoically, watching them depart as they head into the bustling city. Elsewhere, a man on the phone with the Central Committee is taken aback by surprising news concerning Tintin. The conversation implies a conflict of information, with important details yet to be confirmed. A man speaks urgently on the phone, emphasizing that Tintin must not speak to the king, hatching a plan to prevent the meeting. The room is tense with unspoken threats, as he assures his listener that there is still time to act. That evening, Tintin is informed by a formal envoy that the king will see him for a short interview, guided by the captain of the guard. Tintin thanks them with a nod, his resolve visible as he prepares for the crucial meeting. Accompanied by a soldier in a distinguished uniform, Tintin walks through the dimly lit palace grounds, Snowy trotting beside him. The glow from the windows casts a warm light, reflecting the gravity of the encounter awaiting him. As Tintin and the soldier approach through the palace grounds, two shadowy figures lurk behind a pillar, whispering urgently to one another. The anticipation of their encounter is keenly felt as Snowy trots ahead, unaware of the hidden threat. Snowy suddenly bolts, barking loudly, causing Tintin and the soldier to turn in surprise. Confusion spreads across Tintin's face, his senses alert to the unexpected disruption. The hidden men, realizing they have been discovered, spring into action, urging each other to move quickly. Tintin exclaims in alarm at the ambush, as the soldier draws his sword, ready to defend against the imminent threat. The soldier, with a firm grip on Tintin, warns him not to resist, as other menacing figures close in. Tintin's eyes widen in shock, realizing the betrayal, while Snowy growls defensively at his side. Tintin, full of defiance, shouts, "Traitor," as he struggles against the ambushers. The soldier's hat flies off amidst the scuffle, chaos erupting around them as Tintin fights back. A cacophony of stars and thuds fills the air as Tintin ducks, narrowly avoiding a blow. Two attackers collide with each other in their frenzy, allowing Tintin a brief moment to plan his next move. As Tintin runs, an attacker chases after him, raising a club menacingly above his head. Tintin's heart races as he hears the heavy footsteps approaching from behind. Just as the club is about to strike, Snowy leaps into action, biting the attacker's leg and causing him to stumble. Tintin seizes the opportunity to dodge the blow, his quick reflexes saving him from harm. With the attacker momentarily distracted, Tintin turns to Snowy with gratitude and says, "Thanks, Snowy." The trusty dog wags his tail, the threat momentarily neutralized as stars dance around them. An attacker, wielding a knife and crouched defensively, faces Tintin with menace in his eyes. Tintin, ready to dodge, keeps his stance low, sizing up his opponent while Snowy barks fiercely at his side. As the attacker lunged forward, Tintin sidestepped swiftly and reached down to snatch up a sturdy stick from the ground. Gripping it firmly, he braced himself to counter the next strike. With a sudden burst of courage, Snowy leapt forward, barking furiously to distract the attacker. Seizing the moment, Tintin hurled the stick straight at the man, striking him hard and sending him reeling in a daze. Tintin, having subdued the attackers, claps his hands together, determined to see the king. Snowy barks excitedly at his side, ready to follow Tintin's lead as they set their sights on the palace. As they approach the illuminated palace, the grand windows cast a warm glow across the path. Tintin moves cautiously, Snowy trotting beside him, both aware of the importance of their mission. Tintin whispers to Snowy, pointing towards the grand building, confident that the king is inside. The duo proceeds with quiet determination, their steps echoing softly against the cobblestones. Tintin climbs the palace wall, peering through the illuminated windows with curiosity. His eyes widen in surprise at the unexpected sight inside. Inside, a grand performance unfolds as a singer in a lavish gown captivates the audience with her melodious voice. The room is filled with elegantly dressed guests, watching intently as music fills the air. Suddenly, a loud crash interrupts the performance, causing the singer to gasp in shock. Guards rush towards the source of the noise, while Tintin, caught in a precarious position, realizes there's no time to waste. Bursting through the ornate doors, Tintin catches the attention of the king and his advisors, his urgency evident. The startled expressions of those inside reflect the unexpected intrusion as Tintin steadies himself, clearly determined to deliver his message. Before Tintin can speak, guards rush forward to restrain him, their grips firm on his arms. He struggles against them, shouting his need to speak to the king, his voice echoing in the grand room. Amidst the commotion, Tintin raises his voice to warn the king, urging caution and distrust towards the professor. The room is filled with tension as the king listens intently, his advisors exchanging worried glances. Amidst the chaos, Tintin is held tightly by the guards, his attempts to warn the king met with disbelief and urgency. The king's advisor urgently calls for more guards, suspecting Tintin of being a threat. In the lavish ballroom, an officer reassures the king that it was merely a young anarchist who breached the palace, dismissing Tintin's warning. Snowy, trotting beside Tintin, looks back at the bustling scene, sensing the gravity of the situation. The next morning, Tintin sits with a furrowed brow, frustrated by the time lost and fearing the conspirators' progress. As the sound of metal clinking echoes, Snowy remains close, sharing in Tintin's silent resolve to uncover the truth. Two stern officers inform Tintin of his transfer to the state prison, their expressions leaving no room for argument. Tintin, though concerned, complies, aware of the importance of keeping his composure. The police van speeds through the bustling streets, its presence attracting curious glances from passers-by. Inside, Tintin sits quietly, contemplating his next move despite the grim circumstances. As the van barrels down the road, a man with a pipe narrowly escapes its path, his eyes wide with surprise. The driver swerves, desperately trying to avoid a collision. The police van skids wildly, narrowly avoiding a man with a basket, as it careens uncontrollably down the street. The man's startled expression reveals the chaos of the moment. Meanwhile, at St. Vladimir's hospital, a doctor receives a call about the accident on Malta Street. With concern evident in his voice, he promptly arranges for an ambulance to be dispatched to the scene. The chaos on Malta Street is met with swift response as medical personnel rush to the overturned van. A crowd gathers, watching intently as the injured are carefully loaded into the ambulance, the atmosphere tense and anxious. Inside the hospital, medical staff wheel in a stretcher with an unconscious man, confirming he has a concussion. Snowy follows closely, his eyes filled with concern for Tintin's well-being. The attendants, discussing the need to retrieve more injured individuals, leave the room. Tintin remains still, his mind racing with plans as Snowy stays by his side, ready for action. Seizing the opportunity, Tintin whispers to Snowy that the concussion might be useful for their escape. With determination, he urges Snowy to make a move, knowing this is their chance. Tintin, making use of the confusion, quickly slips away from the hospital, his mind set on his next destination. He whispers to himself about returning to the palace, determined to continue his mission. With Snowy by his side, Tintin hastily approaches the regal gates of the palace, driven by the urgent need to meet the king. His resolve is clear as he vows to see the king no matter the cost. Tintin, undeterred by any obstacle, runs towards the palace, narrowly avoiding a speeding car. His determination to speak with the king fuels his every step, as Snowy keeps pace with unwavering loyalty. As Tintin dashes forward, a luxurious car screeches to a halt, sending him flying through the air amidst a burst of colorful stars. The sudden impact emphasizes the danger Tintin is willing to face in his quest to reach the palace. He landed hard on the ground, with Snowy rushing to his side, as a uniformed figure stepped quickly out of the car. The king himself hurried forward in concern, while the others looked on in shock. The king himself approached, concern etched on his face, and asked if Tintin was hurt. Tintin quickly assured him he was fine, his voice urgent as he exclaimed about the danger still at hand. As Tintin stands in front of the palace, an officer urgently warns the king about him, labeling him a young anarchist. Tintin, taken aback by the accusation, tries to protest while Snowy looks on, confused and concerned. Reacting swiftly, Tintin delivers a quick punch to the officer, sending his hat flying amid a cascade of stars. The king's guard watches in shock as Snowy eagerly barks, ready to back up Tintin's bold move. Desperate to explain himself, Tintin pleads with the king, insisting he's not an anarchist and warning of a plot against the scepter. The king, still holding a gun, demands clarification, his skepticism evident. Tintin passionately explains to the king that Professor Alembic is an impostor, plotting to steal King Ottokar's scepter. The king, shocked by the revelation, questions if this could truly be the case. Meanwhile, in a richly adorned room filled with books, the guard and Alembic stand together. Their expressions are focused as they examine a painting. Back outside, Tintin accuses the officer who tried to stop him, claiming he's part of the conspiracy. The officer, now on the ground, desperately denies the accusation, pleading his innocence to the king. The officer accuses Tintin of lying, but King intervenes, deciding to take Tintin to Krakow Castle to investigate the claims himself. Tintin's heart races as the possibility of proving his innocence becomes more tangible. Sitting in a speeding car alongside the authoritative figure, Tintin feels the urgency as they rush through the bustling streets. Inside the castle, Alembic and the guard casually discuss photography in the library, agreeing to venture into the treasure chamber. In the bustling city, Tintin and King drive swiftly through the streets, their expressions tense as they focus on their destination. The urgency of their mission compels them forward, weaving through the urban landscape with determination. Inside the castle, Alembic and his accomplice prepare to photograph the scepter, discussing the need for a flashbulb due to poor lighting. As the car speeds towards Krakow Castle, Tintin and the king anxiously eye the distant towers, their hopes pinned on reaching the scepter in time. The king's words of concern echo the urgency of their mission, as they fear they may already be too late. Arriving at the castle, the car screeches to a halt as Tintin and King rush towards the entrance, urgency driving their every step. Guards stand alert, their presence a reminder of the castle's significance and the danger lurking within. Tintin approaches the guards with determination, urgently calling out for the king as Snowy follows closely behind. The guards, taken aback by the sudden commotion, tense at the mention of the king. And that wraps up this chapter. If you enjoyed the story, head to the next part and be sure to like and subscribe for more adventures on Comic Yahad.